All right, are you ready for more trailer videos? I hope so, because that's what you're gonna get right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, Ross the Oliver Man. You may remember in episodes past, we acquired this rusty beauty on auction time. And me never having a livestock trailer of my very own, thought that it'd be sure handy to have one. Because Dad's got his and we always use that together. But there's times when, like his now, it's got stuff in it. And, you know, maybe I would want to take a cow away. Don't have that. So that's my plan here, is that maybe one of them will always be empty. It's not going to be that way though now, because I'm going to fill this one full of crap temporarily so that I can make some stuff happen here. And this poor thing has been quite a adventure the whole time. I was just looking to see, this one's a 2-inch ball. It says it right there, 2. So that's very important. You want to make sure your balls are the right size, because if they're not and they pop out, you are going to have a bad problem, friends. A bad problem going down the road. Now, when I got this, I don't remember, did I pay $800 for it? Something like that. I guess I could look that up. Not really. But anyway, it has some issues, if you didn't notice. For one, it's kind of rusty in places. We need to make a little bit better. Like here, I don't think you'd ride on this and, you know, do your trash route holding onto the handle. I don't think that would support you very long. Another issue it had is they said the tires were flat when I went to get it, but they were not. I pulled it all the way home, and I thought the tires were pretty good for compared to a lot of the crap I've drug home. I mean, then the other thing is I've been using it as storage this spring. I put the seed in it and used it as a seed tender. So that worked out. It did get some use already. But we're gonna have to do some metal work. We're gonna have to do some floor work, I think, before hauling a cow. Because if we can get in there to the front, one thing that I'm not so thrilled about is it's actually slightly shorter than the other one, and I have a heck of a time not hitting my head on it in places. Even in here, like, I'm taller than this, so I'm hitting my head on that if I don't watch what I'm doing. I can't stand up in it without my head rubbing. I have to hold my head at an angle or stand spread-legged or something. So you see the floor in here. I don't like this design myself. And you're going to say, why do you not, whatever. I don't know if I'm sold on the boards running this away. And the reason I say that is, a lot of times, well, I guess I'm thinking about it from a standpoint of all the different things we used our other one for inappropriately. And that would be, like, if you wanted to load something from the end on a pallet and push it in there like seed, this way you'd have to be going over edges of boards, where the other way you just slide along the length of a board. So that's one negative I don't like about it. The other thing we're going to have to, like, there's a lot of saggage here in these boards, and granted they're not very good, but we need to pull them up and we need to get a look at the structure underneath and decide, because even in the middle I'm not hitting nothing till way down low. And I think I looked at that, and what's there is actually bent from years of getting pounded on. So I'm almost of the fan that we pull the whole floor out and then we re-brace the frame differently in such a way that we can run the boards long ways, you know, like every other trailer in America. Because this setup, I just don't know about that, friends. It seems like it's not very solid. I might leave the boards like that in the nose of the trailer, you know, depending on what the subframe looks like. But whenever it gets to a straight run, like right at the edge of that door, then we would want them to go this way, I think, for strength reasons, because that also provides rigidity to your trailer, whereas this does not really. This kind of just, I don't know. I'm not sold on this idea. Also, it's rusted out around there, which is no big deal. Every livestock trailer ever rusts out around there. We've patched ours. I patched one at the shop before. There's just, trailers do this. That's when the animals go to the restroom, you see. They don't have a restroom. They just go right here on the floor, and it rots all that out. So that's what's going on with that. But it's solid enough now to do what I'm going to do with it temporarily until summer, when we can really tear this up, you know, because look at this. I mean, I don't weigh as much as a cow, I hope, but I think I could punch through there if I really worked hard. And a cow's got a lot of weight on one little spot. I mean, they got 4 little hooves like this pushing down. So if they weigh 1,000 pounds, you know, there's 250 pounds on each hoof. So I don't know. It feels a little more solid as you get back, but basically not really. And I need to burn these seed bags or get rid of them, because they attracted mice, you see, and they were living in the seed bag pile. I never got them disposed of. When we got in a hurry planting, I got a lot of them disposed of, but we're down to the last little bit. And then I cleaned out the 9650 cab, and there's crap in here from that. But that's neither here nor there. That's not what we're after. We're after making this a roadworthy rescue right here, which I don't know. See, this is dangerous, because I'm going to step on that, trip, and bust my canootsin'. But I don't know. For the price, I think I did fine. The biggest struggle that I had with this little feller, which almost made it not worth the hassle had I known about it ahead of time, it had no title. So I had to go through and get what they call a court-ordered title. So you have to fill out all this paperwork and spend a bunch of money, go to the courthouse. Luckily, I've got pals there, so they made it, you know, it kind of moved to the head of the line. It didn't sit there forever. Like most times they, you know, you just have to send in and do whatever time they get to it. And I walked in, gave him the paper, got the paper, filled it out, handed it back to him. Then there was a fee that could only be paid in cash, so I walked across the street to the bank, and by the time I came back, it was done. So I got an excellent turnaround time on that. But then I had a worse problem at the state level. I sent in all this packet of stuff with the court order all perfectly the way it's supposed to be, except for one line. I hadn't put one letter, or something wasn't quite right, and they sent it all back. They did send my money back too, so that was, I didn't lose money, but I lost a lot of time, because that took a long time. I mean, they were slow about it, and when they sent that all back, I thought, that's nuts. I was afraid I was going to have to go through and get another order and all that. But I changed that one letter or whatever I did, and I sent it all back, and then eventually they sent me a title, which then I could take to my favoriteest place in the world, the license branch. And then you can go over there and pound your head against the wall for a while, and eventually they'll send you a plate, which I have. It's not on it, it's in the kitchen, which is where all things go. You know, when they come here, they go in the kitchen until you absolutely need them at the last second, and then you can dig around and remember where you put them, because they were in your way in the kitchen, so you moved them somewhere else, and then you know how that goes. So anyway, there's a couple holes, look like the license plate would go there, so we're gonna have to make that happen. The lighting situation is a negative. The last I tried, it did not light up a single light on the truck, but it also did not blow any fuses, so we are somewhat ahead on that ordeal. So we're gonna hook it up now and pull it out here in the open. You know, it's almost nighttime, it looks like, sun's going down, but we're going to do that so that progress is happening, because it hasn't been hooked up to anything for a long time. And I just shoved it out of the way with the loader, as a matter of fact, here earlier this year, because it was in my way. So yeah, I've been meaning to get to it, but I just got too many things that I've been meaning to get to. So now we need it. We're going to make it somewhat roadworthy in the form of the tires right, lighting if possible. If not, we're going to temporarily string it so that 2 brake lights work, and that'll get us to town and back, because it's no big deal. But we're gonna, you know, that way at least progress has been made, you know. We get a little bit done now, then we'll work on a little bit more the next time, you know, and whatever. But we got to get this solided up and different things before we would haul a cow in it, I think. I just don't feel like it's, you know, like what I'm going to do with it, furniture is what I'm going to get. Antique furniture. I like antiques. That's the way it is. And I bought some antique furniture, and I don't have time now to mess around in the house and get it where I want. So I'm just going to get it out of there, put it in here, cover it with plastic, and that'll get it home. And then I'll have as many days as it takes me to get stuff rearranged like I want it and whatever. You know how that is. So I've also got furniture I'm waiting to get rid of. My sister's building a new house, but that's not going to happen until March. So I've got stuff stored that she's supposed to get. My other sister's got stuff for her stored in her basement. So, and my mom and dad got stuff of theirs stored, and that's just the way it is. So right now we're just trying to get through the winter and, you know, get back to our normal lives. So step one is going to be to hook this up and hope that it's high enough up that it's going to actually go on there, because I think what I'm going to have to do is use the lower down drop ball that I have that isn't really handy in 90% of situations, but in this situation it's going to be exactly what we need, because I have a feeling that it has settled down in the dirt a little, you see. And I also have a feeling, if I remember correctly, that jack is all the way up. That's one negative about that jack. You better have a block with you, because it doesn't have a long throw to make her happen. I think I got the 2 5/16 ball on it now. So you will recall the other day that I put this one on by accident, and then we ended up switching it to the one we actually needed. So, come on. I got too many hitches on this, but it's all because of that other flatbed trailer, dang it. It has to have a 2 5/16 ball. For a long time, I was finally down to where I had everything changed over, so it took the same thing. And now we're back to this nonsense. Super cheap, super duty. Hooking up to the super cheap trailer. Super cheap life. It's the only way we roll, friends. Why buy a nice one for $1,000 when you could buy one that needs $3,000 worth of work for only $800? Because you're saving money. You know? You don't have to make payments on it, you know? You just run up your charge account at the lumber store to repair your junk trailer that you bought. I have no idea if I'm anywhere close, seeing as how I've never pulled this trailer except one time. I'm not used to its look. A lot of the trailers, after you've pulled them enough, you can gauge in the mirror by how centered your truck is, how far away you are. Oh, I actually didn't do too bad. I need to go over a little, because I bet I won't. I might be able to manhandle that on there. A fuel truck. Haven't seen one of those dinosaurs in a long time. They don't stop here anymore. Stuck up fuel trucks. No, I just don't buy fuel like used to. Used to, the fuel guy would come like every week and keep the tank topped off. Well, then gasoline started getting so bad a quality that the sun would evaporate most of it, so that was a waste of your money to have them come and bring you, you know, 200 or 300 gallons of gas at a time and then it disappear. So we quit that. And then the diesel fuel, I don't know, one time I had one leak some out, and I thought, boy, if that had been full, that would be a sad thing. So I try not to, like right now in the winter, we don't need stuff sitting just slap full of fuel. We can just, it'll be fine. You do what you want, but I am not gonna do that. Come on, yep, get back to the teeth. We're not, I bet we're not gonna get this. Oh, we are. Oh, that's surprising. So I'm a pretty big old boy, so I can move the trailers without a lot of think it needs to go back over. Maybe. The collar doesn't seem like it's going all the way. Got a Manuel pin, which is okay. Oop, sorry Spider, evicted you from your home. I can't imagine that that has anything to do with why the lights were not working. You know? Do you think? I don't think so. That's probably fine. Let's make sure that this jack is all the way up, because this is actually really a nice jack if it is the thing that it is. And I like that it's out of the way. I would much rather, what do I want to say here? Ooh. Boy, what do I got going here? A chain on only one side? Sure. Come on. I would much rather be confused at what my chain situation is. What is happening here? Well, that is a unique breed of... Okay, well, let's pull it out here in the open. I would much rather put a wood block under a jack like that than have the jack hanging down any, because what'll happen is you get a load on your trailer, you go through a dip or something, it'll just twist the heck out of the jacks, and then your jack is junk. You know, that's what's happened to the jack on my other poor flatbed trailer. But I did find one that you can pull a pin and then pull the whole thing up in there, and that has helped it last longer than most of them. But otherwise, that style jack, it just doesn't stick around very long. Oh, need the four-wheel drive? I don't know. Whoa, you know what would have been a real good idea? Probably to have the door closed and be looking at what we're doing, because I don't know what we just ran over, you know? Hopefully it wasn't Buddy the dog, because then you people would be so sad and upset at me that my dog was the size of a pancake now. But no, I think it just, if anything, there was, oh, it ran over that wooden deal there. That's no big deal. I think all the tires pretty well stayed up. I mean, I'd take it down the interstate. No, I would not. Yeah. First time it's been hooked up in a while. And I noticed another oddity while we were hooking it up. Here I thought we had nice chain situation, but we don't. They just pinned it to one side. So what I think I'm gonna do is, I don't know how much of this chain I got, but I would almost bolt it through there somehow and then hook this back to it, so that at least it's pulling from two different spots. That one's not quite long enough to, I want a little slack in it that I can adjust. But since that's welded on there good, you know, if I would just bolt this to there and then adjust my chains accordingly, it would just hang up here. Basically it'd be the same as two chains, except it's actually connected there, but it wouldn't matter. It would, when it got tight, it would pull on the side, but that would give us some strength, which I think is going to be important. You don't want all your hopes and dreams on that one rusty welded hook that was done by a guy who was drunk and, you know, trying to hurry up and get a pig sold for, you know, scrap or whatever. But anywho, not the big deal. Where do we want to begin? It'd be nice if there was lights working, and there just were not. I mean, there was none lights working. None. Like I said, I can't imagine why, you know. But I think what I'm going to do is grab a cardboard creeper here, if possible. Nice piece of cardboard here from my uncle. He does that thing with Billy Graham and those shoe boxes, and they send them to kids in need all over the world or whatever, and our school at church helps pack them and things, and then, I don't know, they get there about March, I think, so they have Christmas, and Christmas in Arabia is in about March or whatever. But anyway, moral of the story is, that's where I get the cardboard. He brings me the cardboard because they're going to throw it away after they unpack all these things. So I'm not above using a free piece of cardboard. Oh, it just gets better, friends. Oh, look at that. Scotch locks and butt connectors. Oh, it's beautiful. It's more beautiful than if I had tried to do it myself. Oh, and it even gets better. Back here, we got more Scotch locks and more broken wires and more butt connectors. And then where does it go? Well, it probably goes up. A lot of them go up. No? Yeah. No? There's a piece of tubing it goes through. You can see, and I can't. I can't see. There it is. So it goes, there's a protector piece here, I guess it goes through. So we've got like 3 different splices in less than 5 feet. So that's awesome. Let's go back a little bit, see what we're gonna get there. Okay, there's where it goes up. I was gonna say, most all the livestock trailers, the wiring ends up going up because it goes to the clearance lights as well. And to me, that's perfectly acceptable because that makes it easier to work on. And then see, it'll come down to each light here. But let's crawl up in here. Moo, 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 like a cow, you know, think cow. Let's just see. So the wires are coming from the front to the back all the way on both sides, and they didn't hook up that clearance light anymore. Where are they making the jump to the one on the roof? Right there. So they're going through there. Okay. But this should be the main. Oh, it's not. Is it though? I was gonna say there should be a main junction there. There it is. That's where all our wires come through. Okay, so here's what we can do to make this the best that it can be. I would be apt to cutting it all out and starting over, because this is a horrendous mess. You can't see that, I guess, because it's getting dark and I forget about that, the GoPro. But while those wires would probably work, I think I would rather just not go that route. I mean, for temporary sake, I might have to, but I think I could just as soon go faster by not doing the thing. So what I'm thinking, without saying so many words, is I'm gonna get a metal junction box like you'd have in a house that I can put a plate over, and I'm gonna bolt it to the side of the trailer here, right over top of that hole where the wires come in, so that they can come into that, and then I can make the connections there and protect them from an angry cow that's gonna inevitably be biting and kicking and screaming. Because what I'm surprised they haven't chewed off. I mean, maybe the guy hauled pigs in this or whatever, and that's why, but I'm surprised they didn't get a hold of that and start messing with it. But if I could get it where it was right there, then inside it, I could put holes wherever I want and send the wires up and over or around the tree. And like this one's just gonna go through this tube all the way over to here to run that clearance light, it looks like. And then also, I guess what it's doing, it's also doing the turn signal brake light on that side, because it's running back along that channel to there. And I bet what they did, well, I can't say that for sure. That does feel like it's attached. It is. So they have compromised the wire. I was gonna say I would not be opposed to just using it, but you know, for now I could use it. I could tie into it and get the brake lights to work, whatever. But I'm feeling like what I would like better is to cut loose under the floor, pull all that wire up out of here where I can get to it, and do my metal junction box idea, and then run new wire from the truck up to the junction box and have it sitting here ready to go. And then all I have to do is when I want to finish the rest of the wiring is just open the lid up and then pull my wires in and connect it in the box to the new thing and be done with it. And I need to look at what I ordered. I did order some kind of junction box thing for that other trailer that we could possibly use on this, which I think has screws and everything. But what concerns me is it's plastic, and a cow smashing against this with its head would probably not do that many favors. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'll dig up some supplies and we'll decide what to do, because this obviously is not going to be this is going to be tomorrow's project, you know. We're not going to get it done anymore today because it's getting too dark. We can't work without artificial lighting, and like I said, we're going to need supplies anyway. But our biggest goal would be if a guy could get brake lights going. You know, he's got 2 brand new brake lights on here, and it looks like they've strung some new wires to get them some brake lights. But when I do it for real, I'll probably go LED, and I'll probably go back to the original rubber style thing that fills that hole, and then hopefully I wouldn't have to worry about this ever again in my life. See, they did the other side's got round. This side they've gone to these because I'd say they tore it off. That needs re-riveted on there. That's fine. That's just for decoration. You don't need, like I said, this ain't a show queen. But that back one's technically supposed to be red, I think. But we need to get us some more lighting products before we really tackle this 100%. I mean, a guy ought to probably paint the trailer too while he's at it, but that ain't gonna happen. We might sand on it this summer and do something, but we're just not, this is not a show thing. I didn't buy this to impress the neighbors. I bought this to have an extra handy thing around, and that's where we're gonna go with it, you know. So yeah, we're gonna leave this here. I'm gonna get supplies, and then we're going to tackle, we can rotate the tires around, no problem. Brakes, see, that's the other thing. We know nothing about these brakes, or whether they actually work, or whether they're hooked up. But that would be another thing that has to junction in at some point. So, you know, that's the kind of stuff we got to be thinking about here, is how we're going to make that happen. And maybe we want to put the junction box under the floor. That's where most of the time they go. We can figure that out next time too. I'll get that dug out because we obviously didn't use it on that. So we might as well just recycle our failure to this for now, even though we're ready for it now on there, and then we'll have to buy another. It doesn't matter. I got it. So we're going to use the stuff we got, and we'll buy replacements for whatever we need later. But we got it hooked up. That's step one, you know. Step one is making it hooked up. Step number 2 is going to be straightening out our wiring situation. And you know, it's kind of nice when they run the wires in there because it keeps them out of the weather and they don't get ripped off underneath. But it's also kind of a trick to get them fed through the channels and stuff, because by now the channels are probably rusty inside, and it's not going to be a smooth, nice pull all the way through. It's going to be an adventure of sadness, but we're used to that. That's pretty well that's our life's message at this point. So that's what we're going to do, and we'll make this happen. But like I said, for now we may end up tying into those rickety wires somewhere so that we can actually have some tail and brake lights to do our task that is at hand. And that's where we will pick it up next time. So until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. After watching what you just saw, do you feel like your IQ has dropped lower than your credit score? Well, there's no reason that both of us should be miserable, so go ahead and hit that thumbs up and leave a comment. That stuff costs you nothing, and it really helps me out. Your banker may not approve, but I know mine will. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.